so we've got 3 prompts. And then, why do we do this? Why did this one do this?
To make sure that it's a number.
To make sure it's a number. Sometimes it works if you leave this out, but it's always safest to leave this in because in JavaScript, you notice that, remember, we don't tell it whether it's a string.
Mm-hmm.
They're always var, right? They're always just variables, so we don't tell it the data type. When you get in languages like Java, C++, C#, you use things like int for integer, and you do use a data type. It's not called, I think it may be called string in some of them. So that's why in these JavaScript code here, it's best to always take whatever variable was input to you at the screen if it's supposed to be numeric. See, even though this is a number, it's not used in any calculations, right? So it's basically just used to output to the screen, so it's considered a string even though it's numbers. Does that make sense? Okay. So this is the only one that's used in a calculation. Therefore, we need to say 1 times purchase price because 1 times 1, 1 times 5, all of that. 1 is the identity multiplier. Okay, so next, this is the processing steps. First, we output the customer name. You can do this at the very end, but this will not change. The customer name and the account number has already been prompted for an input, so you can output those 2 things to the screen. And then they use the BR to put the account number on the next line. Okay, so now this is the initialize step for the putting something in or the priming for the balance because they're going to use per month as the running total. So you might have named that variable something else that was a little, anybody have different names? What'd you do?
For the input price, I put price, and for the balance variable, I just put balance.
Balance. Okay, is that what most of you all use? Maybe balance or balance due? Is that what you balance due? Minimum. Okay. So that, just so you understand, this is the same thing as what yours was, but they put the initial purchase price into that running total per month so that they'll be subtracting each time through the loop from this per month, right? So, and also they initialized number of months to 0, so the first time into the loop, they added 1 to it so that it would be at month 1. Okay, so per month, so you may have done this at the bottom and initialized your num month or your month to 1, right? You could do it that way. You could also say here, you could go, even though it's num month equals 0, you could come here and say num underscore month plus plus, which would add 1 to it, right? And then you would take this, oops, I left that on there, and put it down at the bottom of your loop. Oops, did it do it? Oh, there it is. And semicolon. So you could do it that way, right? Yes.
Right. It's something you have to do on 7B because if you initialize it at the top, it will not have a second, it will not like run again.
Run again? Okay, so we'll leave it like this, and this should work too. Let's run it again and see. But this should work also, and if it makes more sense to you, we can say equals num underscore month plus 1, right? Num month. So it was initialized to 0 up at the top, but we could leave this statement off if we initialized it to 1 up here.
Wouldn't the statement says less than 24? That wouldn't.
Yeah, that has to change too. It has to say less than. Let's see. If it's at the top, it would be all right. But yeah, right here it needs to say less than or equal to, right? But you notice that it did run correctly the first time, the way the student did it, right? it did run the first time. Okay, so this time we said less than or equal to. Let's see if it'll run the same. And the reason I want to do this is to show you that everybody thinks just a little bit differently. So as long as your loop has been initialized, has the processing steps, and has the increment in it, then you should be okay. And this is the way it showed us in the book, is to always put the increment at the bottom, right? Which actually this would go after the document.write line instead of there, because that's going to make my month come out wrong, right? Okay, so I'm going to say, let's go here. Oops. Well, still don't want to do it right. Hold on. See, Command Z. And let me go up here, and here, and down one. There we go. All right. So this way, does everybody see what would have happened if I left num month up above? What would happen on my output? I should have ran it so you could see what would happen, because this outputs, then I increment by 1. Could that have messed me up? Because see, I would have already added 1 to num month before it ever printed out the first one, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can run it that way too and see. But this way should work. Let's see what happens. Oops. There, file, save. Okay. Okay, so that was my first one. And then enter the purchase price. Let's make this one just 1,000. Really old cart. Maybe I better at least say 2,500. Okay. So there's name, account number, projected balance, printed out the months down to 24, right? Yes.
So how do you keep a negative number from showing on the screen?
Oh, this negative 0.08. Okay, well, if we don't want month 24 to show as a negative, let's see what we would want to do. We wouldn't want we would have to do an if statement. Okay. If the balance, we could say if the balance right here at the bottom, or right before it prints out, we could say if per month is less than 0, then put all zeros in it. We could set it equal to. So we could do like this. If per month is less than 0, and we wouldn't need an else, we would just have, oops, let's see, we would just have our opening brace. Then we would say per month, oops, per month is equal to 0.00, right? Mm-hmm. And then play race. And that might look more realistic, right? Let's try this. There we go. It didn't put the 0.00. It just put 0, but no negative number now, because it didn't take what I put. If I put I did put 2 fixed in there, but it doesn't. It's not going to put those cents out if it's less than. It doesn't have any decimals to calculate. Okay, so any questions about that? That's for one customer, right? So now your assignment was to make this work for any number of customers, right? So you've got the hard part done. This is the processing of the outer loop, is this loop, okay? So who got it right? Corey, you got one?
No.
You don't have one? Amelia does? Who else? Do you have one?
Could you go back to the code and zoom out?
Oh, okay. You want to see this code right here. Zoom in where you can see it more?
No, out where I can see.
Oh, it's not big enough?
Or close your menu on the side.
I know, that's what was trying to get it to let me do that earlier. Hide navigation, maybe that's it. Huh, no. Which one is it? Show navigation, that wasn't it. Maybe it is the toolbar. Nope. I don't know in here.
It looks like files. Yeah.
Oh, files. Okay, there we go. Okay, thank you. Okay, there we go. Is that what you needed?
Yes.
Corey, is that enough room? Do you need the top part or just that part? Top part? Okay. We'll scroll down to. Oh, here's what I can do. Let me just save this to Evernote. Then you can just get it up. How's that? If I put it in the right one, is this one? Okay, I'm going to add. Oh. And I can actually just attach. What was that called? Oh, that was in students here, I think.
Did you post the part for 7A at all on?
No, I did not. This is what this is, though, okay? Because that's what this student did. What was his called? What is it called in Text Wrangler? Just a second. I think I can just drag it over there, actually. What's it called? Chapter 4. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Chapter 4. I thought that's where I saved it. Now it's not doing that. Ah. Okay, let me go here. File. Save as, and it'll show me where it's at. Well, that is where it is. Chapter. I guess I just didn't go down far enough. Well, I will save it right there now, and then it will be there. Did y'all see it? It's saying it's there. There it is. Okay. All right. So it is in there. Let Evernote go right here. I just was passing by it. Chapter 4 right there. Open. Okay. So you should be able to, let me update, let me sync this. Hold on. No. I am connected to the internet. Oh, I better make me close this and reopen it. Just a second. Quit. Make me log in again. Okay, it should be there now. Let me make sure I'll sync it. I synced it. So now you should be able to download this one. And that can work as what I was going to do for 7A. So if you haven't put 7A in your drive and you want to do the pseudocode for it, you should be able to figure out the pseudocode from that HTML, right? Oh man, I think.
I've got 7B uploaded to the site if we want to.
Okay, so
JavaScript.
your 7B will have a little bit different variable names, right? So
Yeah.
we can.
But it runs at least.
Okay, so what is our job for 7B? What do we want to do that's going to change? Is there an example in the book of one with an outer loop? Do you remember? We talked about one with, this will always be the case in your problems. If it says to modify it, or like these, like 9, 10, 11, and 12, they tell you to make it work for any number. Well, then if it's telling you that for any number of clients or customers or cars or whatever it is, you know right off that you've got to have an outer loop. You've got to have something that controls that. But it may say execute the loop 10 times. So that tells you the for loop, or to use a for loop instead of a sentinel value, right? Or you can use a while loop with what?
An or statement or an and statement?
Well, no, what do you do on a while loop that doesn't use a sentinel value? You use a,
Less than.
well, yeah, that's true. But what about a counter? You've got to have it controlled. It's called a counter control while loop. Or what's the other one? It's called it's one with a sentinel value, right?
Mhm.
Sentinel value control, which means it's controlled by the user. Okay? So those are the two kinds of while loops. If you have a counter control while loop, it works the same as a for loop. So you can actually choose either or. All right? Okay, so let's look and okay, we can see how you did yours, Amelia. Let's see, where's it at? Students.
Should be on a file that's like shared with you or something.
Yeah, that's up at, okay, let me go up here. That's over, under, it's on my Google Drive, there. Okay, AG, right?
Number 3.
That one?
Yeah.
Okay.
70.
Okay, let's go here and say open with text wrangler. Okay, this one, what she's done different is she's got a constant called month end, so that's where you're determining if you're at the end of the months. So that's the inner loops terminator. You've done it a little different. Account end is 0, so that you're asking them to enter 2 zeros.
That's the sentinel value.
Yeah, the sentinel value. Variable balance. Okay, so here is the outer loop. And we probably should do this in a pseudocode or flowchart first.
I also submitted the flow chart and I color coded too because.
Oh, where is that one at? Right up here?
Right at the top.
Okay.
It's all free flow charts. So.
Okay, so what we see is that the outer loop, this is the priming input for the outer loop, because we have to have an account number to determine if there are any more account numbers to enter, right? So here's our priming account number, and it says while account number is not equal to account end, and you remember account end is 0. So while it's not equal to account end, all of this inside here should be what was number 7A. I'm sorry, 7A. So everything that she's color-coded in blue is 7A. So that's the inner loop that all it's doing is determining is if I'm at the end of 24 months, then I need to input another account number and I need to go back up. Oops. Yeah, go back up to the top and check again. Hey, am I at the end? Did they enter zeros? And if they did not, then I go through here again. If they did, then I just go to the end because I have no more account numbers. Okay, so you see what you added for part B is a very short part. It's just another while loop here. Okay, so let's look at the Java. So anybody have any questions about the flow chart there? You want to write it in pseudocode? You want to do that? Would that help? Okay, let's go and let's look at her flow chart. And we're going to go to Text Wrangler. So let's see, where do you have her? Let me put this flow chart also in Evernote so y'all can be looking at it.
It's like all 3 of the problems though on one document. So.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's all right. Oh, I can't put the flow chart. It'll make me, I'm not sure if it'll do it right. It might because it's a PDF, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, it should do. Okay, then let's see, attach. where it was again. Okay, this one's here, here. Okay, so here's your flow charts here that she did. Let's do this one. And you can be looking at it. I'm going to call it up over here so I don't have to, so I can have it up at the same time. Oh, come on, browser. Okay. Well, that thing isn't letting me go back. I bet I have to. Come on. There we go. Let me get it up here so I can see it while you all are coding it. While we're coding it. Spring 14. Oh, wait. It's fundamentals. Actually, I put it in Evernote, didn't I? Cancel. Okay, schedule week by. Down at the bottom. Oh, mine didn't sync. Great. Browser. Okay, it was AG. There it is. I think it won't let me unzip it here. Maybe. Yeah, there it is. No. Okay. I was going to get it up. Y'all will just have to tell me. I'll have to go back and forth on it. Okay, so we're going to go to Text Wrangler. And I'm going to start with a new blank document, text document. And so first thing we want to do is our declarations, right? So I'm going to go over. So I'm going to go ahead and put the, oh, actually we need the start, I guess. And if you're doing the classes like it does in the book, that's fine also. Okay, so I'm going to cheat a little bit and go over. Let me put this view back. What was it? Files. Where is yours? Didn't I open it in here to run it? Yeah, right there. Is that it? Yep. Okay, so for all the declarations, we would. I put just the flow chart, and we're doing the pseudocode right now, and so then I'll put it in there. Okay, so we're going to put all of the declarations. So I just went ahead and put them in. Does anybody have a problem with that? Pseudocode, I did all the vars. You can go back if you want and change each one of those to num. We used 2 constants. Now, did somebody else do it without using constants like that? Somebody else do 7B without using, because she's using a month-end constant for knowing when she's at the end of just one count. And then the constant here that says account end if there's 2 zeros there. Did we run it yet?
No, we didn't.
Okay, let's do that first. Let's go here. Where's it at? Okay, so this is B. Open Safari. Okay, so first customer. And see how she put in the input. She put, please enter the account number or 00 to quit. Okay, so you have to always be sure when you prompt the user that if it's determined, the end is determined by something they enter, you have to tell them this is what you enter to quit the program. Otherwise, they don't know. Okay, D. Wilson, 134. Please enter the price of the vehicle.
Oh.
It didn't output.
It said account number, not name.
Oh, did I
Yeah.
entered something wrong?
You put in the name instead of an account number.
Oh, okay. So I want to run it
That was
again.
weird.
That it did that because I said cancel. Okay, account number is 1, 2, 3, 4. Name. Okay, now it's not outputting, is it? Did it output on yours?
It worked on mine.
Okay, let me see. It may not output until it should output each time.
Okay, because I tested it with Google Chrome. I don't have Safari.
Okay, well, we can
But it
try
out-
Google
It
Chrome.
outputted with.
Okay, it won't usually run it unless in Google Chrome. Maybe it will here. Please enter the account number 1, 2, 3, 4. Please type the name. Price of the vehicle. There it is. I don't know why it didn't on Safari. It should have.
Well, that said different browsers.
I know, but Safari's been working for me. To continue, enter another account number. So let's say we enter this account number, another name, and this one will be 2,500. Okay, so we'll look at the bottom here and see if it printed out. We're going to hit 00 to quit, and it did indeed quit. So here, 24-month account balance goes down to 24 and has this long weird number.
Yeah.
24-month account balance for 678 DW, and there's the next one, and then it ended. Okay, so it did run. Now, here's some things that we can do on it that we'll look at here in a minute, but let's get the pseudocode done first. Okay, so here was, let me put this file, save as, problem, let's see, chapter 4, number 7B, right? 7B, okay, save that. Okay, so we've got all the input, the declarations. Now we need to do the input, right? So the input would be input account number, account num, oops, I need to use the same variable names so it's not confusing, name, and balance.
No, you don't want to do the name and the price first, because if the account number is account end, you don't want to prompt them for the name, because that's quits the
Because it's gonna print this out first. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we don't need the name and number if we're gonna just quit the loop. The name and price. If we're just gonna quit the loop. So.
Okay, let's see what you're saying from your flow chart, because I'm not sure what you're saying. Because you can do it. Okay, what you did, input account number only, which if you put double zeros right in the beginning, it would go straight down without a name. Okay. All right, I see what you're saying. Okay, so we only want the account number first, because we're going to do the outer loop test on the account number. So here's where we'd say while account num, account num, if I can spell it, is not equal. You can do not equal a couple different ways. Amelia does less than and greater than. You can also do this.
I did try the less than and greater than. JavaScript doesn't like it.
Yeah, so this one is one that you can use in JavaScript. While account num is not equal to 00, and we need to put that in quotes.
No, we don't.
You didn't in yours?
I just did account end.
Oh,
No,
that's
not
why.
equal
Okay,
to
if
account.
you put zeros, account num is it's a string, and so we could put in quotes 00. But what she did is she used a constant up here. And so she said, well, it's not equal to account end. Oh,
CCT.
yeah. And next would be, while it's not equal, then we put that whole loop from 7a, which is, oh, I didn't look at it. Okay, so in this flow chart, where's it at? Right here. So the next part we've done down to here is where we've coded. So now we're going to code this side, the yes side, or while account number is not equal to account end. Yes, it's not equal. So we would come here. Did anybody do their decision different than that? If I do it different? That's what I did have pulled up is, where did I have that? Because there is another way to do this with an if else. Let me show you something. Where did this go? Okay, spring, back one more. Okay, so this one, the way Amelia did it. Now y'all jump in if you've got something different or have a question, and or you did it a different way and you want to know, because if it came out right, it's okay. Because this one, what it's not equal to quit. Okay, yeah, put in count number. No, that's pretty close to the way that the one that was in the book. So we've done this decision. Now we're going to say, okay, input name and price now. So if we go over to our pseudocode, then we would say input name, comma, balance, right?
No price.
No, price is what you called it, and I got all caps for some reason. I don't want to do that. Input name, comma, price. Because now you want to know who the customer's name is and what price. Okay, so now let's go back over to here. So now we've got this box. Now we want to go ahead and output the name and the price. So I can actually, so now I can come over here and I can say account number and name, not the price. We're outputting those two variables that we input. Next, balance equals price and month equals 1. So, other than Amelia, why do we have to do this? Balance equals price. Why do we need to do that? What's balance? Could we just leave it at price and subtract from price all the way down? Could we do that? We could, right? We could do that and it would work, but this may make a little more sense so that you can have, here's one reason that you might not want to do that. We haven't output the original price yet. Do we ever need to do that? Does it have you do that?
No.
No. So we really wouldn't have to.
But the book says, assume that the customer pays 1/24 of the original price every month.
Okay, so you've got to have price to figure the payment amount, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is what you did here. So we do need to leave price at what it originally was for this to work. Okay, so that's why she set up another variable. Right, so I'm going to take these two, which would be next in our pseudocode. So those of you that prefer pseudocoding, we're going to have both. This should actually go one line down. So now all of this, remember, these 4 statements are before you enter the loop that you created for 7a, right? So you've had to add these in also. Well, they were actually, you have 7a up there too, right?
It's in a different file, but yeah, I've got it.
Okay, so the variable names wouldn't be different. I should have looked at it first. But
It
anyway,
they're
this...
not different, but I had a problem when I was doing 8B. I had actually done a file save as, and it did not. For some reason, it didn't. take my declarations to equal the variables I put down in the code.
Okay, so now we're going to enter the loop that you should have created when you did 7A. Okay, so that's what we're doing next. We go over here, and I'll put this in Evernote also for you. So here is the while loop that's nested inside the outer while, right? Okay, so it's going to say while month is less than or equal to month end, and remember month end is 24, and it needed to be less than or equal because when it's 24, we still need to print it out, right? Okay, so while month end, so all of this is above the nested loop. So all this that I'm getting ready to enter should be your code for number 7A. All right, so I'm going to go to back to here. This one. Balance equals balance minus price divided by 24, because this is what's going to give us the payment amount. Now you can, if you did it this way, you can calculate the payment amount outside of the loop and use it as a variable all the way through. Okay, that's exactly right too. That will work. So if you determined up here at the beginning of the program what the payment amount was, the only difference is you just have one more variable, or here you're actually calculating the payment amount every single time through the loop. So that might be another way, more efficient way to do it is to use a variable, because you could calculate the payment amount at the beginning. All right, so here is the next step is output balance. I'm going to do all these. So these are the things that we have to do in a loop. We did our processing. We output month and balance, and then we incremented month. So now we need in pseudocode, just so we'll know, this is an end while. But in JavaScript, it's a curly brace, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now we need to go to this loop comes back up, and it's going to keep going around until 24 times, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then right before we exit that loop, so I actually put my end while.
Yeah, you put your end while in the right place.
Yeah, and then right after that end while, this is outside either loop, right?
No, it's outside the inner loop.
The inner loop, yes. Okay, so we're going to go down in our pseudocode. Oops, I meant to copy that. So here we go, so I don't mess up on the variable names. This goes right outside that. We have to give a priming input, because we have to know, okay, do we want to stop here? Are we done? Do we go to the end? But the way we test that is by going back up to this while loop, right? It's going to come right back up to that while loop, just like in the flow chart. Okay, so next, after that, it's going to come back up here. Not there, not the blue one. Up the
That's
black one there. Yeah, that's good.
Color-coded.
Okay, so it's coming back up here. So the only thing left to code is while account number is not equal to account end. Let's say it is zeros. So the only thing I left to code is my end, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I go over here. After this one is actually going to have two ends. It's going to have an end while and then an end, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, makes sense? All right, so I'm going to save this. Some of you have typed it in as we went because I type pretty slow. But I'll go ahead and put this over also in Evernote. Okay, so this one goes in, there it is. Okay, where did I save that? Oh, Hopefully I saved it in students. Call it Chapter 4, 7B. Okay. Chapter 4. Oh my goodness. CH4. There it is. Okay, so there's the pseudocode for you also. All right, so the only other thing that we were going to do is 8A and B, and what I told, I'm not sure if I put it, I think I put it in Evernote, that I'm going to give you the pseudocode and flowchart for the rest of the problems in Chapter 4. So there's like 7 or 8 or something like that. There's quite a few there. It goes down to like 14 or something. So I will post all those so that if you want to try to work it and then check it, okay, that will be really good practice. Of course, they get a little more complicated as they go. So you can look and just understand that when you look at those solutions, that's one way. There may be a couple of little things that you changed that the logic is still correct, okay? So just remember that those are just that's just one way that the author goes about answering the problem. If you understand your logic and you desk check it or JavaScript it, then you know it works or not, right? Okay, so any questions over 7A or B before we go on to 8? All right, so instead of looking at one that's already done this time, let's go ahead and we'll pseudocode. I know she has, we can go back and refer to her 8A and B if we want to, and we can pseudocode from there. I guess for time's sake, we only have 15 minutes left. Maybe I should do that. So let's look at, well, there's also the one in the book. I want to see how different. That's 14. Let me go the way the author answered it. Let's go up. Let me tell my daughter I'm in class. Hope she's. Oh, no. Accidentally did that. Okay, so number 8 says something about Sneaky Pete's used cars, right? Find it. Sneaky Sam, not Sneaky Pete. Sneaky Sam's used car company provides car loans to customers at 2% interest per month. Okay, design an application that gets customer data, including an account number, customer name, and purchase price. So our input is basically still the same as the previous problem, right? So output the account number and name, then output the customer's projected balance each month for the next 24 months. So what makes that part different than number 7?
You got to account for interest.
Yeah, you've got to add interest to each payment, right? So that's what's a little bit different, but I still can build off of 7, actually. Okay, so assume that when the balance reaches $25 or less, the customer can pay off the account. So at the beginning of every month, 2% interest is added to the balance, and then the customer makes a payment. Okay, so equal to 1/24 of the current balance. So it tells you exactly what steps to do everything in, right? Tells you there at the end what to do. So we've got our variables defined here. Let me go ahead and, oops. Oh, let me get them. It's not going to let me do that, I guess. For some reason. Sometimes PDFs are contrary like that. Let me see if it will. No. All right, so I've got, well, I can start with my last one. We've still got, and I'll save this one as This one's chapter 4, number 8A. All right. So this one, the thing that's going to be a little bit different, I'm not going to have this while loop. Do I have the, I guess I don't have number 7, just A out there. Oh yeah, that's what this one was, wasn't it? Okay, but it's a little different. Okay, so account name, price. What else did it say we need? We need customer name.
2% interest, which is the loan rate.
Okay, so we could call it, yeah, our interest rate or loan rate, either
You
one.
still need the month end, the way I put it.
That's right. We don't need to count in this problem until B. Okay, I'm just going to comment that out. So we need an interest rate or a loan rate equals 0.02. Okay. What other variables did we have? Let me find that one. Okay.
Okay. The balance is just 25 or less.
Okay, so month end, then we need to have, yeah, something that determines when the balance is 25 or less. So we're going to use a constant here of 25. She called it balance limit. Oops. Can't get my caps at the right place. Balance limit. Okay.
Equals 25.
Oh, yeah. Equals 25 because we have to set it. All right. So now we're going to not need this outer loop. So, but I still can use that. Here I need to say output, right?
You need to get. We should do account number, name.
Just a second, let me see. Okay, so what we're doing is inputting the account number. And what did it say to do next? Input customer name. Okay, so I can actually put those two together on this one. What did you call it? Name or?
Name and price, and that's on the next line, actually.
Okay. But you can put them in pseudocode all the same. Put account name and price, output account, and then you just output those two. Then set balance equal to price again.
And I also initialized month in the variables. So
where's that? Yeah, you did that up there. Variable
I
month.
don't think it's initialized in the pseudocode.
Yeah, right. Equals 1. Balance, variable balance. So input. This part's right.
Just repeated.
Yeah, I repeated here. Okay. Output, account name. Okay, so all of this can be moved over because it's not a part of the loop. And this one then I don't need month equals 1, right? Okay, so what changes here? While month is less than or equal to month end, which is 24, so we still need this loop. Payment amount. Okay, this one we have to add to the balance, right? So we add to the balance first, is what it says here. At the beginning of every month, 2% interest is added to the balance, and then the customer makes a payment. Okay, because that's going to make a difference where you add it to the balance, because the interest amount's going to change.
So what
right?
I have is 1 month end. 1 month is less than or equal to month end, and balance is greater than the balance limit.
So you used a logical. So you can test for that at the end, or you can use an in and. Let's see how they did it here. Yeah, they did an if. They calculated the balance before. Oh, they actually used an outer loop and an inner loop.
Really?
Wait just a minute. Let me see. No, an if inside the while. So one way to do it. Okay, if you want to do it like with a logical and, here we go, and, or actually that's pseudo JavaScript. It would say and. The way the way, if you want it to match the flow chart that we have there in the Evernote, Amelia's flow chart, then it would say and balance is less than,
Greater than.
oh yeah, that's right, greater than balance underscore limit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you want it, then you would do balance equals balance minus price divided by 24. Okay, I'm going to put one also because we're running out of time.
Actually, what I did is I did balance equals balance minus balance divided by 24 because
Balance equals balance minus balance divided by 24. So you did the payment amount.
because what it asked for was
Right, was the payment amount after you've added to the balance.
Mhm.
Okay,
because of the
I'll just put this in the pseudocode since we're running out of time here. You said while, month and balance. I think this will let me do it. Let me see if it will. Oh, it's,
make
oh
sure you
well.
didn't get that N
I
in.
don't care. I'll take it off here just a second. Let me put it. That's what would go in here, except for that N go. There it is.
No, month plus plus still needs to be in there.
Which one did I take out? Oh, that. Okay. So this goes here, here, here. But I don't need. So, oops. Where I put that end? I don't know.
You already took it out.
Okay. So this, does that show the end of it?
Yep.
Okay. So this is the way if you match Amelia's flow chart that's in there, then I'm going to put in the solution in the textbook, which what it does, and let me pull that up real quick so you can see, and then we'll, okay, this is, solutions, here it is, and this one is chapter 4. Come on, that may already be up. No, it's probably going to close this. Oh, that's a Word doc. Okay. Where's my window? Well, it didn't open it. Come on. Word. There it is. Okay, so let me get this big enough where you can see it, maybe. This is number 8. So let me show you how they did a while loop and then an if for the test of the balance limit. So you can do either one. Is this number 8? Wait, what number is that one? Is that 8 though, or 7? Am I still on 7? 7. Okay, there was 8, I think. Yeah, here's a way that, and let me look at this one so you can see. Okay, so in this one, the way the author did the solution to this was, here's your while loop. They calculated the balance due prior to the if statement. So right after you get into the loop, you calculate the interest and add it to the balance. And then if balance due is greater than minimum amount, which is 25 at the top, then payment amount equals balance due divided by 24. Balance due equals balance due minus payment amount. There's actually less calculations in the way Amelia did it if you want to use the and instead of the if. Because here there's a little bit more calculations, more statements than there was in the way she did it, right? Here was her while loop. Okay, so go through and see which one you think is the better way to do it. Actually, both of them work, so that's what you want to go by. And then she has B there, and you can take it, and then I'll also give you the solutions to B, but I'll also load the JavaScript for B on 8, okay? All right, so you'll have all that. And then you can work on anything. And now, if the reading quizzes are not open, be sure and remind me, because I'll open those. Not the hands-on, but all the reading quizzes, if there's any of them that you did not take. You can't retake a reading quiz, but if you did not take it, you can take it. Okay? Yes.
Is there a way to see which answers we got wrong on any quiz?
Oh, on the quizzes? I have to bring it up here. I don't know if I can, on Monday when we come back on the 24th, any of them that you got wrong, you can come up here afterwards and I can show you. Okay?